everyone, it's Social Club time. Big question dominating everyone's thoughts probably is whether the lack of European football is helping the title challenges, whatever you want to call them, of Chelsea and Liverpool Football Club this season. James, this seems to be something that's creeping into everyone's mentality. I think it goes, obviously people looked at Leicester City last year. You had Liverpool going from 7th to 2nd with no Europe. And then I had a look into it. The examples kind of trail off a little bit after that. What do you reckon? Is this a modern thing, or is it an actual thing?
I think it's valid to a point. And even in our season predictors, that was a huge thing that we were all kind of using as a factor. The fact it's about time, isn't it? You get more time to train and you've got less games, so that might mean less injuries. That's just common sense, isn't it? So it probably does play a little bit of a factor. But I have stats here provided by, I'm not going to say who, Chris, thanks for the stats, which over the last sort of 5 years during this international break where there's Champions League games around it as well, the points per game difference it's nothing really. It's only United who've got less points around that period of time when they're playing Champions League games in the last 5 years. So maybe it is a bit of a myth. I don't know. What do you think?
What do you reckon, Perth?
No, I think it's genuine. I think it's actually only really started since financial fair play's come in. I've said this before. I don't think you can win a Europa trophy, a European trophy, and win the league. Yeah. I don't think it's possible anymore. As it stands, with the 25-man squads and obviously the financial fair play as it stands at the moment, I just don't think you can create a squad good enough,
or big enough.
Yeah, because don't forget as well, in the Premier League they have there is a wage cap as well. It's sort of like a gentleman's agreement. There's a wage cap. I think that really restricts teams from building up these big squads like they used to be able to, that they could cope after European games. I mean, because it's all right saying, now these teams might be able to get through it, but come when the games are really thick and fast around Christmas and obviously later on the season, when someone like Liverpool, if Liverpool played that style and had 2 games a week, they'd be finished by February. Yeah. But they might be able to just keep that out for the whole of the season.
I think it's a case that you can't. It's very difficult to play the same team every single game. It's slightly easier when you've got a game a week.
Yeah, and also I think when things are going wrong, you've got a week to fix it. So Chelsea were garbage for a while, wasn't they? And then they had a bit of time where Conte's changed the system. He's obviously got the players on the training ground, and he gets a full week, so he gets Sunday to Friday or whatever with those players. And all of a sudden, they changed round. He changed his formation, and it worked pretty much straight away. Whereas if you're playing, if you're playing Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, wherever, you don't get that time. You're either travelling to and from games, you're playing the game, and coming home.
The recovery time as well.
So you're almost stuck with your system for a while because you haven't got time to implement something else. So it's not working. You're either changing it and hoping that it's working without ever doing work on the training pitch, or you're sticking with what you've got and maybe changing a player here or there, hoping for a bit of magic.
That's a great point, because Conte said as well that this formation that everyone's going crazy about now was not the one he wanted. He wanted 4-2-4, but because he's got the time to figure it out, if he had the Champions League, you just don't have the time, do you? There's no chance. So
I remember Brendan Rodgers complaining about it the season after when he had the Champions League. He said, "I just don't have the time with the players." And everyone went, well, that's what it is, mate. But when it's okay. I think when you're up and running and you're established and you're not you're just making tweaks here and there. Whereas when you need to come in and make a complete change, exactly as you're saying, like completely deviate from what you're doing, we do it on football management games and we do it on the computer, but you don't send your guys out in a completely alien formation because everyone's at such a level, particularly in the Premier League now, where you get found out without that work on the training.
Yeah, of course, and it's not just 1 week, is it? I mean, Chelsea have had a week and then another week and then another week, so you get to the point where a game like yesterday against Middlesbrough, where it's a close game, but they eke it out because they never looked like they were going to concede a goal, and it's almost like perfect now, and that's the time it affects you're afforded, and then if they go on, they can continue on and then go into next season with that. It's a ready-made, and so it's sort of like what Liverpool did last season. They were in the Europa League. The second half of the season, they had to choose which one they really went for, the league or the Europa League. They chose the Europa League, and he managed. But it took him all that time to embed his style because of that league. And as you said, Conte, he's only needed 3-4 months to really get that style nailed.
Yeah, I think from what I can look at, sorry, James, what I've seen from looking into it is there are a couple of examples. The ones I've mentioned there, the only past Liverpool, unless there was Man United who got back into the top 4 in 14-15, having had no Europe that season, and you had to go back to Everton in 04-05, broke into the top 4 with no Europe that season. But I
think it is a new thing, though. I don't think you should go back more than a couple of seasons.
I have done so. 01-02, Blackburn and Southampton.
Indulge me.
But yeah, other than that, really, there's Blackburn and Southampton only got as far as 5th and 6th with no European football. What I've worked out from it, it's less having no European football guarantees you going up. What it actually tends to mean is the teams that it's actually more of a struggle. It's the other way, which is kind of the same thing. Is that it's actually it's not that it's a benefit for not having it. It can be a hindrance if you do have it. So a lot of times you see teams like Spurs we got 4th and then had 3 or 4 seasons on the bounce, finishing 5th, 6th in the Europa League places and what have you. So a lot of teams, again, Everton got into the top 4 that season and then trying to get into Europe, that's in the other 2 qualifiers in the various competitions and so on and so forth. So it does look like if you're not prepared for it and you've not got the squads, it can knock you.
I think in the past as well, teams that have got into Europe, and we're one of them, is you tend to panic buy as well. You need to you think, I need this player and that, and suddenly you go, we've got 6 players or 7 players that we didn't have last season. How are we going to integrate them into the squad and into the style we've got? And it causes that flux for the first 3 or 4 months where you're trying to bed in these players, and that can be a problem in itself.
Yeah, the hindrance of it that you can't focus on just one thing is a huge part of it. Leicester this year, even Blackburn 95. The next year they had a nightmare year. Man United took them a good few years.
But that's where good managers earn the money, though. Ferguson was a genius at it. That's why.
But it took him a while to get there.
But it took him a while to get anywhere. But once he'd got himself sorted, he was a genius at it. He knew exactly when to drop players and when to. I mean, he basically invented the word rotation in football. Yeah. Because it was rotation. Because he didn't.
And then let Ranieri take all the stick for it.
But he did. He basically invented it, and we've seen it at Liverpool when Benitez did. I don't think he kept the same team for over 100 games. Yeah. He was always moving players around to keep them fresh. And as I say, Ferguson's the master at it because he had 4 great strikers, which he could then. Yeah. He normally had three competitions he was always going for, and everyone got 35 games, and it really worked. But as I said, I don't think that model can work anymore.
Another big story this year is Paul Pogba, and everyone's like, he's not playing well enough, and they need to play him in this position or that position. That's another example for you as well, is that they don't get, like Mourinho doesn't care about the Europa League. You still got to go and do it. Yeah. So that's your week gone as well in terms of finding a way to use that great player that you got.
I think it does have an impact, and I think it's. But I do, like I say, I think it has more of an impact on being in Europe than not being, because you've still got to capitalise on it, because you've still got to. The Premier League's still a tough competition. Not saying because you can go and drop points to anyone, can't you? Still, you can go and lose games that you're expected to win in the Premier League sense, but there's still that, like the Europa League. There's no accounting for the upset that has having to play every Sunday because you've played on the Thursday, etc., and going away to the far-flung reaches of Europe to play against a team that basically it's the biggest game of their lives to play against you, that kind of thing.
I know a lot of managers complain they think the FA or the Premier League should help them out, where if they play away in Europe on a Wednesday or a Tuesday, the next game should be a home game. I think a lot of them, and I kind of get that as well. You know, again, it's another day. If Liverpool play,
why do you get that? Why is that a good?
I think because I think for example, if Liverpool play Southampton, say on a Saturday after playing on a Wednesday, Friday's pretty much travelling, so then there's another day's training that you've lost. I think other countries sometimes look after their European teams better than we do. So like some of them will get to play on the Friday instead, or they'll move fixtures around. And I know Mourinho himself has complained plenty about, you know, when his Chelsea side were going for the European Cup, and he was saying they had to play Atletico, and then just like a few days before they had another big game and one right after. I don't think that the way our league works, we're very much separate. We don't give a toss. The Premier League just focus on their competition, and I think that's what gets annoying.
Sky don't either though.
And the TV as well.
Sky make it worse because it helps them. They don't want teams doing well in the Champions League. That's a sad fact now. Since they've lost the Champions League, they're making it as hard as they can. They're trying to say, actually, Champions League's not worth it. The money, we look at all the money we've got. Yeah. That's been very, very clear since the TV deal split.
is it possible when you've got your fixture list done in August or July, whenever it is, the Champions League draws? When's that? September?
I think you could.
Is it possible?
I think you could, even if they're not away, I think you could move fixtures around. I think you could move a game earlier or make a game a day later. But that they've chose not to. It's fine. The only other one thing on it is, I suppose, it's hard when it's your first year in Europe. Where if you're an established team like Man City or Arsenal, for example, who are in it every year, they can afford. They've over time built a big squad, big enough. Where Leicester this year have gone straight in, and obviously they're a one-hit wonder in the Premier League, so they're not going to be able to sign someone who can sit on their bench. So, you know, Gundogan, for example, who doesn't play every game week for City, will be happy sitting on City's bench. He's not going to go and sit on Leicester's bench or whatever.
Well, we had it from a Liverpool perspective, is that there were a lot of teams looking at Liverpool and Man United that summer. Liverpool had just nearly won the title. They'd had a great season, they were playing great football. Man United, even though they'd finished outside of the European places, was still a safer bet, because odds are they were going to be back in there a season later. They'd probably be restored, and you know it's not quite worked out that way, but it's still the same. I think this season, I think it will prove a help to Liverpool and Chelsea. I think we'll find out probably this weekend coming, and how much of an impact we've got there, because there's another round of European fixtures. How do the likes of City, Arsenal, Spurs respond? Particularly, obviously, there's going to be points to be dropped in Chelsea playing Spurs, are they? Is that right, this weekend? So there's going to be, that's going to be interesting, and if Liverpool and Chelsea are able to capitalise on that before they go into the winter break for it, that could just give them a little bit of impetus to kick on.
The last thing, quick, is if you get to February, March, April, and you're still, like Ped said before, you're still in the Champions League, a lot of teams might give up on the league. City last year, they were just on the fringes of the title race, weren't they? And they just decided to gibber off because they were in Europe.
Well, Arsenal just give up on all of it, don't they? So
and Spurs just decided to give up on all of it. And
they played the reserves against Dortmund, for example, and stuff like that. I think you might get to March, April, May, and you almost have to make a decision. Whereas Liverpool and Chelsea, if they're in the title race, won't have to do that. They'll just be able to focus solely on the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let us know your thoughts on that then. Is the lack of European football actually a big positive for Chelsea and Liverpool, and could that actually be something that provides a springboard towards perhaps more success than they would have had were they in European competition this year? Let us know in the comments. Click the button somewhere at the Ball Street Shield to subscribe to the channel and check back for more Social Club.